Hey all, welcome to PowerUp, the podcast that fuels your mind and energizes your strategies. I'm your host Ganesh, and today we're diving into a topic that's at the core of creating products that truly resonate. We're going to be speaking about building a customer-centric product roadmap. In today's fast-paced world, customer expectations are constantly evolving. Oftentimes, we ask ourselves, how do we not only meet these expectations but exceed them? How do we align our business goals with the genuine needs and the desires of our customers? In this episode, we'll explore some actionable steps to craft a product roadmap that puts your customers at the heart of your strategy. We'll blend strategic insights with practical advice, making it easy to convey and relevant to anyone passionate about creating impactful products. Whether you're a product manager or an entrepreneur or simply someone eager to make a difference, let's power up and get started. Let's begin with the foundation of any customer-centric approach. What's fundamental to this is for us to deeply understand our customers. For this, we must see the world through their eyes. Now, how do we achieve this? One of the key things is to develop a detailed customer personas. These customer personas must absolutely delve into your customer demographics, behaviors, motivation, pain points, and aspirations. There are several tools that you could use. I prefer doing this in a simple PowerPoint presentation, but there are several tools like Extensio and User Persona is something that you can use to structure your personas. For example, instead of creating a generic profile like a young professional, 30 years of age, I would encourage you to create a placeholder with a name, let's say Ram, a 35-year-old marketing executive who struggles with data analytics and aims to streamline campaign performance. By expanding on this a bit, what are we essentially doing? We are going into the demographics of the person, of the user that is. We're talking about their pain points currently and their aspirations as well. So it covers the persona really well, and we understand by bucketing such kind of personas what each one of these different personas would want to achieve and accomplish as part of their job roles. If you're a company who already has existing customers, I'd absolutely encourage the product teams to involve and conduct empathetic meetings with customers. This will help you really gather first-hand insights. There's something that I would use when I speak to my customers, and I often use open-ended questions and, more importantly, actively listen to uncover deeper motivations. For example, you could ask, what challenges do you face in your daily work? And then you could follow that up with, can you tell me more about that? Could you expand on that? What I've also understood as a very important technique or mechanism to utilize here is to go ahead and paraphrase what the customer has just told you, in some sense, replay back what you understood to the customer, such that you and the customer are both aligned on what you just spoken about. The other thing that I'd also encourage all product teams to do is to experience your product as a customer. By this I mean, use your product regularly, and by doing this, you'll adopt a different perspective of different customer personas as well. What you would learn from this, or what insight you would gain from this, is that you will identify friction points or areas of improvement you might have otherwise overlooked or missed. If your application, or rather if your product is an application, navigate it as a first-time user to spot onboarding issues as an example. The next thing that you could do is to leverage data analytics. There are several tools and solutions available in the world which will help you analyze user behavior, purchase pattern, and feedback data. At our organization, we've used Google Analytics and Mixpanel, and both of these have provided valuable insights, and I'd encourage you to also explore and experiment with these. For example, you could potentially end up discovering that a significant number of users abandon the sign-up process at a specific step, indicating that that is something that you could solve for and is probably a potential obstacle at the moment. By immersing yourself in customer experiences, you gain valuable insights that inform every aspect of your product roadmap. Now, with this deep understanding of your customers, the next step is to align their needs with your business goals. By this, what I mean is you need to be able to find an intersection between customer desires and business objectives, because both of these have to ensure a mutual value. How do you achieve this? First and foremost is to go ahead and define clear business objectives. By this, what essentially you're doing is articulating your company's short-term and long-term goals. For example, it could be something like, say, increasing market share or boosting user engagement, or even expanding into other new markets are some things that you could look at from a short-term and a long-term goal point of view. Next, you could look at mapping your customer insights to business goals. There's something called as value proposition canvas, which will enable you to identify where customer needs align with your business objective. I would speak about this in the upcoming episodes, but essentially, by creating a value proposition canvas, what you're doing is you're listing down your customers' jobs, pains, and gains alongside your product features, pain relievers, and gain creators from a customer's perspective. For example, if customer seeks easier collaboration tools and your goal is to increase user engagement, naturally, you'd end up developing a collaborative feature, and this becomes a priority as well in your roadmap. So therefore, by doing this, you're matching your business objective with the customer desire or requirement. What's also important after you've done this is to prioritize your features strategically. There are several prioritization frameworks that you could decide on, and this will thereby tell you which features to focus on. There are some frameworks that I'll cover here, and I'll probably be oversimplifying it. One that I often use is something called as RISE scoring, where fundamentally I'm evaluating features based on reach, impact, confidence, and effort. There's also another one that I really like, which is a Moscow method, which is to go ahead and classify features as must-haves, should-haves, could-haves, or won't-have. There are other things like other model frameworks like Kano model, where you can categorize features based on customer satisfaction levels and implementation difficulty. For example, a feature that has high impact and low effort, which you could categorize as a quick win, should be absolutely prioritized. And that's fundamentally what I follow as well to keep it simple, which is effort versus impact framework. As a product team, I would also encourage you to go ahead and conduct a cost-benefit analysis. Not a lot of product teams do it, but I find it absolutely key for an overall product team success, which is to go ahead and weigh the development costs against the expected benefits for both customers and the business. By doing this, what you could also strategize amongst your own product development would be to go ahead and allocate resources to initiatives that offer the highest return of investment. Of course, this would be a hypothesis, but this would be a well-informed action that you would take to allocate resources to initiatives that offer highest return of investment. For example, deciding between developing a new feature or improving an existing one based on potential revenue impact is also something that you can uncover by conducting this cost-benefit analysis. In summary, with this topic, by aligning your customer needs with your business objectives, You create a roadmap that drives success on all fronts. And it's a lot more clearer as well, to be honest. Now, how do we ensure that we stay attuned to our customers as we progress? What is very essential here is to implement something called as a continuous customer feedback loop, which enables you to maintain an open dialogue with your customers, which eventually helps your product to stay relevant and responsive. How do you achieve this? What we do in our teams currently is we have a monthly dedicated catch-up call with some of our customers. What we do here is we have our customers share their thoughts, feedback in a very open manner. We then use these feedbacks and their comments or thoughts internally in a platform. It could even be an Excel where we analyze what is it that these customers are saying. After this customer interaction, we also send a follow-up survey so that the customers interact with the survey as well and give us the feedback on how the communication or the feedback acceptance has been. This will ensure you really will understand what is the customer's absolute priority in an unfiltered manner. We also once toyed with creating a customer advisory board, which actually really worked well, wherein we form a group of representative customers who can provide insights and feedback on a regular basis. How does this benefit us? We would gain a deeper understanding and foster a sense of partnership with our customers, which ensures a long-term engagement with them. But at the same time, the problem-based understanding of the customers is greatly increased by doing this. You could simply conduct a quarterly virtual meeting to discuss the product updates and gather inputs and make this a lot more engaging as you go ahead. If you're a company who's active on social media and other platforms, you could engage with customers on platforms like X, LinkedIn, Reddit, or several others. Here's also a place where you can identify trends, common complaints, or praise, and that can also be a feedback into your product improvements. There's also an in-product feedback mechanism that you could experiment with. This is something, again, that we have done, and it's worked reasonably well, which is to go ahead and integrate an option directly into your product where users can go ahead and give their feedback and rate their experiences after completing their tasks. Eventually, after doing all of this, you analyze and act on feedback, which is absolutely important. You should be able to regularly review feedback and identify any actionable insights that's come along with it. You could also look at using sentiment analysis to gauge the overall customer satisfaction. You would also know if a customer expresses confusion over a feature or a workflow. You can either prioritize improving its usability in a periodic manner or in a timely basis, or you could have a conversation with the customer to educate them of how to use the feature or this workflow. In summary, by continuously engaging with your customers, you ensure your roadmap evolves with their needs. The other thing as we go ahead in creating this roadmap is adapting to change, which is absolutely important. In some sense, adapting to change is crucial in today's dynamic environment, which is why I encourage teams to develop or adopt an agile and a flexible approach. Being agile allows you to respond swiftly to new information and changing market conditions. This is where you go ahead and embrace iterative development. Break your roadmap down into smaller, manageable chunks. Apply Scrum methods or Kanban techniques, whatever works well for you, in giving you a visual of how your eventual feature, if you've broken it down to smaller and manageable chunks, will get accomplished over time and deliver the value to the customer. What this will also do is it'll enable you for performing or doing rapid development and frequent assessment or reassessment. I would also encourage, if you're in a company which is in a growth phase, I would encourage you to release incremental updates every 2 weeks, which incorporates customer feedback. And like I said, you should regularly reassess and reprioritize, hold sprint reviews and backlog refinement sessions. There are several techniques that you can use. There's something called as a rolling wave planning to focus on near-term details while keeping long-term plans flexible. You also will have to adjust your priorities based on success metrics of all the recent releases. You will also need to foster cross-functional collaboration, where you encourage open communications amongst members of different teams, such as product, marketing, sales, customer success. The reason why this is important is because if you get in diverse set of perspectives, it'll lead to a whole lot more holistic solutions. And I've seen this play in my work life as well. I would also encourage users or the development team to go ahead and build, instead of an MVP, which is the minimal viable product, to go ahead and build minimal valuable product. And this is when you should start testing your ideas quickly. You could also experiment with how visually your idea or product would look like by utilizing Figma, Miro, and other applications to go ahead and give your customers or your internal teams a potential feel of how this would look. Showing this, visualizing this feature within a smaller user group before full-scale development, again, will enable you to foster a lot more robust product development and a roadmap process. And at the end of it, you must stay open to pivoting. Be prepared to change direction if customer feedback or market trends suggested different paths. You should also be comfortable in shifting focus from adding new features to enhancing existing one based on user engagement data. An agile approach keeps your roadmap responsive and aligned with both customer needs and market dynamics. After having done all of this, what's absolutely important is for you to go ahead and communicate to your internal teams, and then sometimes even your external teams, to ensuring everyone is on the same page. Transparent communications build trust and fosters collaboration amongst all stakeholders. You should be comfortable in sharing internally with clarity. Regularly update your team and on roadmap progress, changes, reasons behind certain key decisions that you would have made, and of course, highlight the delays and the causes for that as well. For you to go ahead and create such a view of communicating to your internal stakeholders, you could certainly consider Jira, Asana, Confluence, or even Notion. They're all doing a great job in helping product teams like us to go ahead and build the roadmap and to communicate that effectively. I would also encourage monthly all-hands meeting to discuss the roadmap status and gather inputs. This is where you can show what you've built as a release and gather inputs as well. When you're communicating a roadmap, it absolutely has to be visual. Developing visual representations are the easiest way to understand all the information at a glance. It also conveys the priorities really, really well to the stakeholders, and that's essentially what they're looking at as well. Once you've had an internal alignment, you should now step beyond the boundaries to your external communication, and this is with your customers. Instead of getting into too much of details, you could consider sharing high-level roadmap and the information with your customer base. You could use newsletters, blog posts, or community forums to appraise them of what's to come ahead. Be transparent, but avoid overcommitting or even committing to specific dates to manage expectations. Finally, solicit feedback from all stakeholders. Encourage inputs from team members, executives, and even key customers. Like I said earlier, diverse insights can lead to a more robust roadmap development. Finally, celebrate achievements. Recognize and celebrate when milestones are reached. Oftentimes is ignored, but it's very important for you to go ahead and do this. This will boost the morale and reinforce the value of a collaborative effort. For example, you could do a company-wide announcements or maybe a small celebration for significant launches. By communicating effectively, you ensure alignment and foster a shared sense of purpose. At the end of it, a product company has to work on a shared sense of purpose. Let's take a moment. I know we've spoken quite a bit, but let's take a moment to recap the 5 steps in building a customer-centric product roadmap. First, deeply understand your customers. Second, align customer needs with business objectives. Third, implement continuous customer feedback loops. Fourth, adopt an agile and flexible approach. Fifth, communicate your roadmap transparently. Implementing these steps creates a dynamic roadmap that not only guides your product development, but also strengthens relationship with your existing customers in general, and team. I'll summarize this with my final thoughts. Building the customer-centric roadmap is an ongoing journey of empathy, strategy, and collaboration. It's about crafting products that genuinely enhance your customers' lives while propelling your business forward. Remember, the most successful products are those that solve a real problem and deliver exceptional value by doing so. By keeping your customers at the heart of your strategy, you position yourself to create meaningful impact. Once again, thank you so much for joining me on this exploration. I hope you're leaving with some actionable ideas and renewed inspiration to apply this in your work. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to PowerUp, rate us, and share it with your colleagues and friends. Your support helps us reach more people and spread valuable insights. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences on building customer-centric roadmaps. There are a few follow-up topics that would stem off of this, and I will speak about these in the upcoming episodes. Feel free to reach out or leave a comment below. Until next time, I'm Ganesh, encouraging you to keep innovating and always put your customers first. Let's continue to power up our strategies and make a difference together. Thank you. Take care.